Welcome back to Travel 1609 and your deep dive into cruise for May 22, 2025 with your hosts Joe and Donna.
Welcome to the deep dive. We've got a really interesting session today. We're pulling from quite a few places. Official Carnival announcements, some news updates, even, insights from their brand ambassador and cruisers themselves.
Yeah, it's all focused squarely on Carnival today. We're looking at, well, their future plans, what's been happening lately with the fleet, and also trying to answer some of those questions that always seem to come up, especially for first-timers thinking about a Carnival cruise.
Exactly. Our goal here is really to unpack all of this, pull out the most important bits for you, and just give you a clear sense of what Carnival is doing and where they're headed, like a shortcut to getting up to speed.
Makes sense.
Okay, so let's kick things off with Carnival's big vision they announced back in April. They're calling it their innovation itinerary. Sounds like their strategic plan for the next 5 years, maybe even longer. Right. And what's interesting is how they've structured it around these 3 core ideas or pillars. First, sailing the most fun fleet, no surprise there, it's Carnival. Second, creating really compelling experiences and destinations. And third, building, more loyal customers.
So everything kind of ties back to one of those 3 things.
Seems like it, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a focus to all the announcements.
And let's be honest, when we talk future plans, the really exciting part for most people is new ships. And Carnival is definitely delivering on that front.
Oh, absolutely. They've announced the next 2 Excel-class ships. So after Mardi Gras, Celebration, and Jubilee, we're getting Carnival Festival and Carnival Tropical.
And I like that they're using those classic names again. Festivale, Tropicale, takes you back to the original fleet.
It's a nice touch, keeps the history alive. So Carnival Festival is the next one up.
Okay, tell us about Festivale.
Right, so Festival is set to debut in spring 2027, home porting out of Port Canaveral, Florida. They actually just cut the steel for it shortly after the name reveal in April, so, construction's underway.
And the sources mentioned some brand new concepts for Festivale, didn't they? 3 new zones.
Yeah, this is where it gets really interesting. 3 completely new zones. 2 are very music-focused across decks 6, 7, and 8. One is sort of about exploring how music is made, almost like an interactive thing.
Huh, okay.
And the other, up on deck 8, is designed to feel like you're at a big outdoor music event. Think festival vibes, maybe.
Interesting approach, kind of diversifying the entertainment beyond what's on, say, Mardi Gras.
Exactly, and it ties into that fun fleet pillar, but also maybe trying to attract different kinds of guests or give repeat guests something totally new. And it connects to families, too.
How so?
Well, Festival's getting a huge number of interconnecting rooms, 1,000 of them.
1,000? Wow.
Yeah, they said it's nearly 70% more than the other Excel ships. And these will actually replace the family harbor cabin concept. Plus, they're adding a dedicated space for the littlest ones, the Turtles program for 6 months to 2 years old, and generally upgrading all the kids' spaces.
So really leaning into that multi-generational family travel market.
Clearly. And then there's the new outdoor zone up top, Sensation Point, across the top 3 decks, described as a vibrant family fun zone.
Okay, Sensation Point. What's the main feature there? I heard something about the water park.
Yes, Carnival Waterworks Ultra. It's on deck 18, and they're billing it as the most family-friendly water park at sea. And importantly, this area replaces the Bolt roller coaster found on the earlier Excel ships.
Ah, okay, so no Bolt on Festivale.
Correct. Instead, you get 6 slides, 4 of them new for Carnival, including 2 family raft slides. They're making a point that some slides are for guests as short as 3 feet tall, plus 2 splash pads, baby areas, a treehouse trail, sports court, ropes course, mini golf. It's packed.
So treating the thrill ride for broader family water fun makes sense strategically.
It seems like it. And they're doing something new here, too, activating Sensation Point at night. Special lighting, a DJ, extended water park hours, letting families use that whole multi-deck space together in the evening. That's a first for Carnival.
That sounds pretty cool, actually. What about dining? You mentioned it's sailing alongside Mardi Gras from Port Canaveral.
Right. So Emerald Gass, their chief culinary officer, is apparently developing some new dining options specifically for those Port Canaveral ships. That includes a new restaurant that will replace Chipang.
Okay, so a swap there. But the favorites are sticking around.
Oh, yeah. Guy's Burger Joint, Pig and Anchor, Smokehouse, Brew House, Big Chicken. Those aren't going anywhere. They know what people love.
Good to hear. So that's Festivale. Then there's Carnival Tropical.
Yep, the 5th Excel ship. Expected spring 2028. It sounds like it'll take a lot of the festival concepts and maybe add a few new twists of its own. Details are still pretty light on that one, though.
Gotcha. But Carnival's not stopping there, are they? I saw something about Project Ace.
Yeah, Project Ace. This is looking even further ahead, and thinking much, much bigger. It's a whole new ship platform. 3 ships, even larger than Excel class, coming in at 230,000 gross tons each.
Wait, 230,000 Excel class is around 180,000, right?
Exactly. These are significantly larger. Built by Fincantieri, due in 2029, 2031, and 2033. They'll be the biggest ships in the entire Carnival Corporation fleet.
Wow, how many people can they hold?
Almost 8,000 guests at full capacity. Carnival's calling them the next generation of fun ships, promising totally new dining, entertainment, outdoor spaces. It sounds like a major leap forward in scale and design.
Okay, so with these new ships, especially Festivale coming soon, how does that shake up where the existing ships sail?
Well, the first big move is when Festivale arrives in Port Canaveral in spring 2027. Mardi Gras, which currently does longer Caribbean runs from there, will actually shift to doing short cruises, 3- and 4-day trips from the same port.
Oh, that's interesting. So you'll be able to get on an Excel class ship for just a weekend getaway.
Exactly. It makes those big amenity-packed ships accessible for people who maybe only have a few days or want to try a shorter cruise first.
And Carnival's already huge in the short cruise market, right?
They really dominate it. It's a big draw for first-timers, families, people on a budget or with limited vacation time. They sail short cruises from most of their U.S. and Australian home ports.
And they're sticking with those smaller regional ports, too.
Definitely. They mentioned their commitment to those drive-to markets. Like they're going back to sailing year-round from Mobile, Alabama, starting spring 2027. And they're looking at potentially putting a larger ship, a Conquest-class vessel, into Baltimore in 2027 to replace the Carnival Pride. So keeping that focus on accessibility.
Okay, moving on from the ships themselves. Carnival's also focusing on the destinations, particularly their private ones. They're branding them now as the Paradise Collection by Carnival.
Yeah, and it's worth noting that Carnival Cruise Line, the brand, uses these specific destinations mostly in the Caribbean and Mexico more heavily than pretty much any other brand within the wider Carnival Corporation. They're a really core part of the Carnival cruise experience.
And the big news there has to be Celebration Key. It's finally opening soon, right? July.
That's right, July. The sources describe it as a game changer, the ultimate day in paradise, really built from the ground up for Carnival guests. And the scale is massive. They already have 20 ships lined up to visit from 10 different U.S. ports. Over 1,400 sailings scheduled just through 2027.
And locals are involved, too.
Yes. The news from April mentioned Bahamian businesses signing contracts to operate there, which is good to see.
What about their other spots, like Half Moon Cay?
They call it Relax Away, Half Moon Cay. Also getting a significant expansion. Starting this summer, finishing by late 2026, the headline item is adding a pier.
A pier at Half Moon Cay. That's big. It's always been a tender port.
Right. This pier will be able to handle the biggest ships Excel class, even Project Ace down the line. But they emphasize they're doing it carefully to preserve the island's natural beauty, which everyone loves. It's always rated super highly.
Makes sense. And Mahogany Bay in Roten.
Getting a new name in 2026. Isla Tropicale.
Isla Tropicale.
Yeah.
Okay. Any changes coming with the new name?
Yep. An initial expansion will add a pool with a swim-up bar and cabanas. And they have future plans mentioned for a bigger beach area and a beach club. So, again, investing in adding more amenities and capacity to these key private destinations.
So lots happening with ships and destinations. Let's talk about the guest experience overall. Any fleet-wide updates or interesting insights?
Well, Carnival did say they're not just focusing on the brand new builds, they're also strategically enhancing the existing ships. Updates to decor, maybe adding some popular dining or bar concepts from the newer ships. We'll get more details as specific dry dock plans are finalized.
And the loyalty program, the VIFP Club.
Yes, that's getting an upgrade too. They're promising more details this summer, with the changes taking effect in 2026. The goal, according to Carnival's president, is to unlock greater value for their loyal guests. So something for frequent cruisers to keep an eye out for.
Okay. And there were a few other news tidbits recently that showed just how much activity is going on.
Yeah, quick rundown. They're gearing up for a massive summer, expecting almost 2 million guests, perfectly timed with Celebration Key opening. Carnival Miracle finished a dry dock and is now scaling in Europe. Carnival Legend just started its first season out of San Francisco.
Making things easier for guests, too, like with shore excursions.
Right, they're rolling out a ticketless platform for shore excursions, trying to streamline that process. Plus, new partnerships, like with FE Jewelry, they'll even have a store at Celebration Key.
Any other milestones?
Celebrating 15 years sailing from Seattle with Carnival Luminosa. Launching a paid summer internship, a fun internship, in 5 home ports. And down under, Carnival Encounter started sailing from Brisbane. making it their fourth ship in Australia. It's busy across the board.
One person who seems to be at the center of a lot of the guest interaction is their brand ambassador, John Heald. He comes up quite a bit in the sources.
He really does. He's a senior cruise director, but also wears that brand ambassador hat. His Facebook page is definitely the main hub for his interaction with cruisers. The sources point out, if you want to reach him, the mentions tab on his page is the best bet. But just remember, it's public.
What if you don't want to post publicly?
You can email protected, and they'll forward the message to him. His old P.O. box and blog, those are apparently shut down now.
And he's got quite a reputation, right? USA Today called him famously irreverent, candid, funny.
That sounds about right.
Mm-hmm.
And he uses that platform, that huge reach he has, to address things he sees online, sometimes misinformation or just, well, bad advice, like that recent snack hack situation.
Oh, yeah, the snack hack. Tell me about that one.
So apparently a passenger was complaining because Carnival switched from individual cereal boxes at the buffet to dispensers.
Okay.
And this person claimed this change forced them to use plastic bags from the buffet to smuggle cereal off the ship for snacks import.
Right. And what was Heald's take on that?
Well, first, he clarified why they got rid of the boxes. It was because people were taking way too many off the ship, which wasn't the intention and wasn't really practical for Carnival.
Okay, makes sense. But there was a bigger warning.
Yes, and this is the really important part. Heald stressed. Taking non-prepackaged food, like loose cereal you scooped into your own bag, off the ship and into a foreign port, that's generally a big no-no because of local agricultural rules.
Mm-hmm.
He warned it could lead to, I think his words were, frosty treatment from officials or even fines.
So a good reminder about customs and agricultural regulations when you go ashore. Don't just grab buffet food in a baggie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Prepackaged sealed snacks are usually okay, but loose food is risky. And, being John Heald, he had to throw in a serial killer joke about the whole thing.
Of course he did. It keeps people engaged while giving them important info.
Totally.
Speaking of useful info, let's quickly cover some common questions cruisers, especially first-timers, often ask. Things Heald and his team probably answer constantly. The sources had a nice little FAQ section.
Yeah, let's run through some of those. A big one. Is cruising expensive?
What's the verdict there?
The takeaway is your base fare covers a lot, your room, standard dining in the main rooms and buffets, plus things like Guy's Burgers, pizza, lots of entertainment, alcohol, specialty dining, casino stuff, that's extra. So you control the add-ons, but the core vacation is included.
Okay. What about dressing up? Do I need a suit every night?
Definitely not on Carnival. Formal nights aren't mandatory everywhere. You can dress up if you want, but casual is fine for the buffet. Just, wear actual clothes, not swimwear, in the dining areas.
Fair enough. Will you actually have fun? Seems basic, but...
The sources give a strong yes. They emphasize the variety. You can do as much or as little as you want. Nap by the pool, take classes, play cards, mini golf, walk the deck looking for dolphins. The fun is really up to you. The options are there.
Is it just for families or is it a party boat?
Carnival really tries to cater to both. They aim for something for everyone, literally 0 to 99. They point to the Serenity adults-only areas as a space for quiet relaxation, alongside the kids' camps for families.
Internet. Can I get online?
Yes, you can buy internet packages on board. Prices vary, as you'd expect.
Dietary needs, food allergies.
Yes, they can handle it. Just notify the cruise line ahead of time. The chefs can accommodate needs, even in the specialty restaurants.
Safety drill, can I skip it?
Nope, absolutely required, not optional. They check everyone off. It's crucial safety info.
Do I need cash on the ship?
Not really for onboard spending. Everything goes on your room account via your key card. Tips are usually added automatically each night. Cash is mainly useful for when you import souvenirs, taxis, local snacks, extra tips for tour guides, that kind of thing.
Okay, and if I want to exercise?
Plenty of ways. Gym, obviously. Sports track, basketball court, swimming pools, just taking the stairs everywhere. They also have fitness classes, and, hey, even mini golf gets you moving.
Last one from the FAQs. Are shore excursions included?
Generally, no. Excursions are usually an extra cost. They vary widely in price. But Carnival uses vetted tour operators. It's a structured way to see the ports, like Grand Turk, Cozumel, Dominican Republic, Key West places, where having a plan helps.
Wow, okay. We really covered a lot today, from Carnival's huge future plans with these massive ships and updated destinations, all the way down to practical tips and insights from people like John Heald.
It definitely paints a picture of a cruise line that's, well, not sitting still. They're actively investing and innovating everywhere. Huge new ships, enhancing the current ones, upgrading those private islands. It's across the board.
It really is. So maybe here's something for you, the listener, to think about after hearing all this. With Carnival planning such enormous growth, especially introducing these giant Project A ships holding potentially 8,000 guests, how might that change the classic fun ship vibe that Carnival is so known for? Could it alter the guest experience compared to what people know today?
That's a great question. Balancing that massive scale with the Carnival atmosphere, it'd be interesting to see how they manage that. Something to keep pondering as we watch these changes unfold in the world of cruising.